Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name is Soleil and I garden here in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan, and it is fall, it is brisk, and it is time to clean up some more hostas. They have finally died back, so let's take a look at the garden beds that we're going to be working in today and kind of cleaning up. Well, I happen to think that nothing beats a good garden cleanup. Sometimes it just feels so good to come out. So we're going to come through and we are going to tidy up this bed a bit. We will be leaving lots of the fallen leaves in this garden bed though, because they provide a really nice mulch. And I will be coming through with a leaf blower and blowing the leaves out of the path after we're done cleaning up the hostas, so that we can just blow them right into the garden beds. And if you want to, we can just take a little peek over the top here of the fence. You could say hello to the deer. Do you see them down there checking us out? Those are the critters that I don't want jumping the fence, so they can stay on the other side, but right now they are moving around a lot. It is fall, it is hunting season, and they are getting ready for winter. So, all right, let me get my gloves on. I've got my Felcos just in case I need them to be able to snip back on some of the larger hostas. Sometimes those don't die back as quickly as the smaller hostas, so might have to do some trimming on them, but then we'll just go to it. Here we go. First, I'm going to start just by giving you a close-up of kind of how I do this. You'll see all of these hostas have really died right back down to the ground. So I just come through, grab them with my hand, and they pull right away from the stems. And that's it. And that makes it really nice and tidy. And so just one more time, just kind of come through here, grab at the sticks and the leaves that are left over from the hosta blooms. And that's it. So that's what we're going to take care of, and I hope you enjoy a little bit of music as a relaxing garden tidy video. Let's do this. Well, you can tell we are already looking so much cleaner than we did just a few minutes ago, and literally it's been just a few minutes. And if you saw me working on those hostas, it was the easiest thing ever, just to grab them and pick them up. I didn't have to use any of my snippers or anything like that. They just, at this stage of the game, are super easy to clean. So what's next? Well, I noticed while I go through that there's some, kind of uneven areas of the soil that I just kind of come through and will just brush around and, try to even it out a little bit. And then after we get done with this, then we're just going to come through with the blower. And you can also see kind of how this kind of moves the mulch around a little bit, helps it to begin breaking down a little bit over the winter, which also helps to feed the soil. So it's really great to do. So again, this is a real quick and easy way just to kind of level things out a little bit before the ground freezes, which will probably also make it a little more unlevel again. Make sure everything's covered by mulch. This one looks like it's kind of getting heaved out of the ground back here, but I think it's just the way it is. So we'll leave it. Should be fine over the winter, and if I need to come through in the springtime and dig it up and replant it, that'll be fine. So the rest of it looks pretty good. And I think it looks so much better than it did before. Now we're going to come through and we're going to blow the paths off, and then we're going to snip back the spent blooms on the heucheras, and that should do it for the day. So let's get those couple of things done. Well, fantastic. We are already making super huge progress. So you can see how different it looks already. We're getting cleaner, we're getting tidier, and I get a lot of questions about what I do with the leaves that are in my garden beds. Now these leaves, they're rather small, They are rather thin and they break down quite easily. So these are just honeysuckle bush ones. There's some other random leaves like tulip tree leaves from the neighbors that are in here. But these leaves will break down. This is a really nice thin layer. So I leave these all the way over the winter, and then in the springtime I will just mulch over them. No problem. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to come through and we're going to grab these spent blooms off of the heucheras, and that will just tidy it up just that little bit more. You will notice I'm not going all out and cleaning up the entire woodland garden today because I like to take things in chunks. I find it much more manageable, much more pleasing, because then I have one whole area that I can look at and say, that is done. And rather than going through and doing all of the hostas at once and then all of the leaf blowing and all of that, this is my method, and that doesn't mean that it's your method. It's just what I'm sharing with you in case it's something that you haven't thought about and maybe would be helpful to you. And also because it's fun to watch other people work, right? So sometimes when you see other people do things, I know it helps inspire me to go get something done. And hopefully these videos inspire you, and I really do appreciate receiving comments from each of you, because many of you do say just that, hey, you getting out there and doing that inspired me to get out and do it too. And that makes my day. That's really what this is all about. Sharing different information, gardening together, and inspiring each other to try new things in the garden, or just to keep gardening. I know some of you have mentioned that you've struggled with health issues and that it's helped to see me when, I was gardening post-surgery, to kind of motivate you to try it as well. And I'm so happy to hear that. Now this is just a goat's beard that I'm cutting back over here. I'm just going to cut that one back all the way. Heuchera plants are super easy to care for, and I could wait until these die all the way back and then just pull them, similar to what I did with the spent hosta bloom stalks. But right now they're already starting to kind of die, and it's going to get cold and we might get snow, and once we start getting snow, it's not quite as fun to garden in. And I might end up then waiting until spring. And there's plenty of other things to do in the spring. So this will allow us to see the leaves really nicely in the snow. Because if there's one thing I know, the dark leaves of the heuchera definitely show up really well against the white snow. And they are pretty much an evergreen here. Sometimes the rabbits will eat them a little bit during the winter just because it's a vegetation that they can see and is available. But typically I'm left with a really nice crown still in the springtime from which they regenerate. Well, everybody, I think this looks so much better. It looks like a really nice, tidy fall garden. And I love the colors all mixed together with the leaves and the heucheras all within the garden bed. And we can see the path again now, and the contrast of the stones against the mulch. And it just looks really pretty. Now we will get to the rest of the garden another time. And we'll just keep chugging away at it, because that's what we do here. You'll notice I did pile quite a bit of leaf matter up against this large leaf hydrangea. This is a can-do. and definitely some of the leaf litter around the base of this Cape Lookout hydrangea, which is also a large leaf hydrangea. And that can really help with preventing the buds from being frozen out early in the spring when we get late freezes here in our zone. So just a little tip and technique for those of you out there who may struggle with that. Piling up leaves around them can be a good way to prevent that from happening. You just don't want to smother the crown. Just make sure you put it around the outside of the plant. Well, thanks again for joining me in the garden today for a little bit of cleanup, and it feels so good to get another task checked off the list for our fall garden. We'll see you next time. Bye!